Fantastic to have you here today with us, Richard. I'm really excited to have you on the podcast talking about HICAPS Go. And I'll let you, as we get into it, explain exactly what it is and the great new opportunities that have started there. But I just wanted to, first off, get you to share a little bit of your history, because from what we spoke about earlier, it sounds like you've been a physio for quite a while, and that's led you to where you are right now. So welcome, and maybe just introduce yourself with a bit of that backstory.
Yeah, thanks, James. So I was a physio initially. So I was a physio for 10 years and worked in Australia and the UK for that period of time. And then I got to a point where I decided I could do this for another 30 years, or I could do something different. So I decided to change tack, and I did an MBA and moved across to NAB's health division. So I was literally a health banker there for 4 years. Then I moved into NAB Business, which is another division within NAB. And the last 18 months, I've been working in NAB's innovation area, and specifically on a project called HICAPS Go, which is what we're here to talk about today.
Yeah, fantastic. And I think almost everyone who's listening to this would be familiar with HICAPS itself. It's one of the, you'd call it traditional, one of the main ways that people have been getting payments through and rebates from private health funds for a very long time. And it has been a little bit of buzz in the industry here in Australia anyway around this new thing, HICAPS Go. So I'm really excited to hear a bit more about it today, get into some of the details of it and how it works. But maybe the first thing is just literally to explain a little bit about what is HICAPS Go and how does it apply? What's it for massage therapists?
Yeah, so you're right. So HICAPS has been around since 1998. It's a wholly owned subsidiary of NAB. And it hasn't really changed that much in that period of time. And we've entered this period where people are, or customers are using apps for all types of things and interacting digitally. Uber being a famous example of that. So what we've tried to do is create a new environment in which patients can see their out-of-pocket expenses through an app in a digital environment and see what their costs are going to be, and also book in to see therapists. So it provides this great transparency for patients to see what their cost is going to be, and it also allows practitioners to process payments much quicker, so much more efficiently, and also have patients find them. So it just opens that digital interface for practitioners and patients, which hasn't been there before.
Yeah, fantastic. So for a practitioner, how does it actually work? What does it look like from their point of view, and how do they get paid from it? That kind of detail. Yeah. What does it look like?
Yeah, so practitioners are given access to an online portal, which is known as a Medipass portal. So Medipass is a group of developers who have done a joint venture with NAB to create HICAPS Go. And that partnership started about 3 years ago. So they will create a portal that the practitioner can go into. The practitioner creates their services and prices, and then they can send a request for the payment from their online portal. The patient will receive it on their mobile phone, hit approve, and the payment goes through. So the rebate will come off their private health insurance, and the gap will come off a credit card which they've entered into the app as well. So it's very Uber-like in the way that the payments go through.
Yeah, cool. And so does that happen instantly? Like I would literally be at checkout as a practitioner and say, oh, you're paying through the app, no worries. And then I would do something on my end, pops up on there, and they press go, and then we're all like, cool, sweet.
Absolutely. So you'll have a little light that will turn green on your screen that shows that the payment's gone through. And then both payments have gone through and will reconcile in the same way that they do presently if you use the terminal. So it's a really clean way for things to happen, and the patient receives an email with the receipt of the transaction as well. So practitioners don't need to print off dockets and staple EFTPOS receipts to it. It's very, very clean and quick, and there's a permanent digital record of the payment. So it's a really clean, quick process which appeals to a lot of your early adopter patients and practitioners as well.
Yeah, absolutely. How long has it been around for?
So, as I said, this started 3 years ago as a joint venture between NAB's Ventures arm and Medipass Solutions. And we worked with a lot of practitioners in a pilot phase to try to improve the product as much as possible. And it was officially launched in October 2017. So we had an official launch then, and we've been scaling up since then. So it's something that's growing quite quickly, and later this year it's going to scale up very, very quickly. So it's something that's been in the pipeline for a while, but we feel that the product's been refined really well now, and it's sort of ready to enter a business as usual sort of phase.
And does it have all the major funds or the same ones as the main HICAPS does? Does it work exactly the same in that sense?
Yeah, so most of the funds are in the process of either being live on the platform or coming onto the platform. So roughly 50% of your patients who have private health insurance will be with the fund who is live on the platform now. And we forecast by sort of mid-September that should be at about 85%. So
okay, so it's happening pretty quickly right now, is what you're saying, this uptake.
Absolutely. And some of the bigger funds that are on at the moment are Medibank, AHM, GMHBA, NIB, Defence Health, some Lukes. So there's a whole raft of them that are on, and a lot of the bigger ones who aren't on at the moment. We forecast, as I said, sort of September will be on. So most of your massage therapists' patients who have private health should be eligible for HICAPS Go in September.
Yeah, fantastic. And actually, by the time people are listening to this podcast, it probably will be September or later. This will be around for a little while. So it's definitely worth going and checking. If you're a therapist interested in this, go and check the website, have a look at the list and see what funds are available there and how much it's going to work. What about, I guess, because I'm trying to think of the questions that therapists will ask, right, to be able to preempt what they're going to be interested in. If someone already has the HICAPS terminal, is this just like another thing they sign up for? Or if they don't have HICAPS at all, can they sign up to this separately? Like, how does the kind of sign up and membership process work?
Yeah, so not all patients will want to use HICAPS Go. You'll have some that are late adopters or followers who prefer using their card for a period of time. So it'll run parallel with the existing processes. So it's not replacing terminals, but we aim to more or less have both working together so it caters to all patient needs. So you'll have some patients who are early adopters and come in asking to use HICAPS Go, and you'll have those that want to use the traditional methods. So we'll use both, and you might find that the clinics who are early adopters and have a lot of patients coming through using HICAPS Go decide that they don't need the terminals anymore. So then they drop the terminals. But it's entirely up to the practitioner as to what they think their customer base needs are. So there's no additional fixed fee. So the $25 a month, I think it is, that your massage therapist will be paying for their terminal incorporates the cost of HICAPS Go. So
okay, fantastic. So essentially, if someone has the terminal already, it's just an option they go and tick somewhere, or they still have to sign up on the website?
Yeah, so they can go to the website. So they can go to hicaps.com.au/go, and there's an online form they can complete there. Their details will then, that should only take about 10 minutes, a nice simple form. That then will be sent to HICAPS, so that information is verified by HICAPS. That's then sent to our developers at Medipass Solutions, and the developers will then send an email to the practitioner. So they'll receive an email from Medipass Solutions. Once you activate that email, you'll be live on the system, and you can put your services and prices in, and patients can find you. And there's a raft of guides and how-tos within that portal as well, so you can have a look around, and it's very self-explanatory on how to do things. So being a health practitioner myself, I know we're not all as tech savvy as other people in the world, but it is really well laid out and easy to follow. And there'll also, later this year, there'll also be a process where everyone will be activated in the background for HICAPS Go. So they'll receive some communication with terms and conditions of HICAPS Go. They can accept that. And once they open their account, they're deemed active. And again, they can put in their prices and services. So, yeah, so in the near future, most practices, or the vast majority, should be live with HICAPS Go.
That's great. It sounds like a really exciting time to be talking with you about this too, because it's all kind of changing and just being created as we go, which is really great. What about another more practical question that just popped into my head for the practitioners, for therapists? If they are using just the app, if they've just got HICAPS Go, and someone comes in and wants to claim, but the client does not have the app, can they still do a payment through the app somehow for that person?
Yeah, they can. So there's a solution being worked on where a patient can actually approve online. So they can be sent a link by the practitioner and they can approve it through that link. So they don't have to have the app. So that solution's being worked through at the moment, which is really exciting. It's online approval. You can also invite patients through the portal to download the app. So just put their mobile number into the portal, hit invite patient, they'll receive an app with a link to download the app. So there's a variety of solutions being created to work around that. And the other one that does invite patients is, often practitioners get asked by patients, over the phone, what am I going to be out of pocket for an appointment? I'm with Medibank or whoever it may be, and no one knows the answer because there's so many variables that are involved. So you can literally ask them for their phone number, select the service that they've asked about, and send a quote to them. Then they'll receive a notification to download the app. Once they download the app and put in their private health insurance details, they'll be able to see what their rebate would be. So it just helps get around those tricky conversations. And it's a real value add to future clients. You just look a little bit smarter than the next clinic that won't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, that's cool. And the extra visibility too is great for everybody in that scenario. The client knows exactly what they're going to get, exactly how much it's going to cost. And the therapist themselves is also aware of all that. So they've got the information they can actually share when they're asked. Yeah. I really like it. And it sounds a little bit like one of those things that is, now that it's happening, you kind of go, why didn't this happen earlier? It seems just so obvious that there is an app or some way of making all this happen. And I think it's really fantastic that NAB has taken it on, especially because quite often what we see is that the old guard industry people who often have that kind of broad reach in the community just because they've been around for a long time, they're often disrupted by other people. Like you mentioned Uber earlier, and it's like the taxi industry has never really done anything for years and years and years. Uber pops up, comes along and just kind of has this huge disruptive influence on it. And I really love that NAB is actually going, well, hey, we've got this thing. Let's just keep improving it. Let's keep seeing what we can do with it.
Yeah, and that's right. And I think that was the strategy that was employed, that they recognised they had something that was leading in market and had a strong market share, and it was there for the taking. So someone was going to disrupt it with a digital interface. So why don't we just disrupt ourselves and create something that's an improvement? So it's for NAB, it's been really a positive story. And for the innovation area within NAB, it's they're very proud of what they've achieved with it and look forward to seeing it roll out through the market.
Yeah, well done. It looks really good. Another thing I wanted to mention, you talked about this briefly, but it sounds like there is a list of practitioners inside the actual app. Like if we think about, so far we've been talking mostly about how the therapist themselves interacts with it and charges clients. But from the client's point of view, if I'm understanding correctly, they can go in there and somehow look at all the therapists that are local to them, and like they can see which ones offer rebates and that kind of stuff. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. So if you're live within the app, a patient who's got the app, and I'd encourage your listeners, massage therapists, to download the app and have a look at it. But it'll have a listing of all the practitioners who are live on HICAPS Go, and then patients can go in and have a look at each one and look at what services they offer. So if you're active in HICAPS Go, it's basically a free listing, free marketing for your clinic. And that is filtered by clinics that are closest to your location. So there's no favoritism with who's listed first or anything like that. You're not paying for the listing. And if a patient's going to be in a different city or location and they know they want an appointment when they're elsewhere, they can change their location and then see who's available in that area as well to book in. So it's a really clever way to to find practitioners and for your patients to find you as well. So you can put your little logo on there, you can put mugshots of yourself and your practitioners on there. And yeah, you can have, if you have online booking, we can look to integrate that as well.
Oh, wow, great.
Yeah, so there's a whole raft of things that you can do when you're in there. So yeah, it's a really good thing to do, just to download the app and see how it works. And then you can sort of see how it will work for you as a clinic as well. So yeah, that search and find, although it's not our go, if you like, at HICAPS, with the transaction platform and a rebate platform, but it's a nice value add as well for clinics.
And I think it is good, because we quite often get the question in a broader sense is, do I really need to be registered for health fund rebates? Because from a practitioner's point of view, for massage therapists, to practice as a massage therapist, you don't have to get registered with the health funds. But to get a rebate, you obviously do. You need to be at a certain level of qualification, and then you need to actually register. And as business coaches, we're like, look, it's a good box to tick. It can absolutely help, but it's not 100% necessary. It doesn't help with, and one of the things we say is it doesn't help with marketing, really. There's no sort of proactive marketing involved in having a health fund rebate. You can put a logo on your website or whatever, but people still have to come in before they see that. Whereas this is actually a proactive marketing benefit that comes from having that rebate available and using HICAPS for it. So I think in one sense, it's kind of like filling a little gap that maybe hasn't been a huge thing, but has been a gap that's maybe just sitting off on the side there. And it's like HICAPS Go is ticking all these other boxes, and then almost kind of incidentally just happens to give this other benefit that as you know, I'm a marketer. As a marketer, I see that and think, wow, that's really great. That's actually quite a positive reason to come and join the platform and to get involved with that.
Yeah, and it is. And look, it's a really nice value add. And often people see the listing and they say, oh, you know, what's the go with the listing? Like, do I have to pay more to be listed higher, or a patient's going to rate me, and, you know, all those sorts of things. But it's not. It's purely just so that people can see what their out of pocket and their rebate will be. And it's just a really nice value add for people live on the system.
Yeah, I love it. It sounds really, really good. I guess we've gone through a whole lot of stuff already, touched on a lot of the practical things. We've probably covered off on everything I can think of we might want to share with massage therapists to make sure that they understand HICAPS Go and how it can work. If someone is ready to have a look at this, or just wants some more information, or if they're already with HICAPS, the old school normal HICAPS, and they want to have a go at the app, what's the next step? Do they just visit the website?
Yeah, so the website's the best place to go. So hicaps.com.au/go, and that's where you can get the information on it. We're also doing a website revamp at the moment. So hicaps.com.au is the first port of call, and there is a link to HICAPS Go from there.
Fantastic. And we'll put the link in the show notes too. So if anyone is listening to this and you want to just literally click a link, go check out the show notes. We'll make sure that's in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And also for those who aren't already registered with HICAPS, obviously you'd need to register with HICAPS first before you can get access to HICAPS Go. And that's literally just hicaps.com.au, and follow your nose once you're in the website.
Fantastic. Sounds really great. Thank you so much for coming and sharing that with us today, Richard. It's been a really interesting conversation. I can imagine there's going to be a lot of people who are keen to see what this is about and to take those next steps into at least investigating it. So thank you so much for coming on board. I appreciate it.
Pleasure. Thanks, James. Thanks for your time.
No worries. We'll see you soon.
See ya.